Good morning. I'm Madison Rockliff, bringing you the latest news of the day, November 13th, 1969, for Channel 555. The news was broken yesterday on a US government cover-up over the My Lai massacre, which took place last year on the 16th of March. The Charlie Company of the 11th Battalion had claimed to have killed 128 Viet Cong soldiers, which would have been the most killed by a single battalion in a 24-hour period. They also claimed to have only captured 3 weapons. When Hughes Thompson, a helicopter pilot, claimed civilian lives had been taken, a commanding officer said it had only been 20 to 28 civilians, and it had been after a heavy artillery accident. A report was then filed stating that only 20 civilians had been killed, and thus the massacre was completely covered up. Until yesterday, when the My Lai massacre was brought into the public eye by investigative journalist Seymour Hirst. There were 700 villagers in My Lai, and as many as 504 were killed. Among the dead were 50 aged 3 or younger, 69 between the ages of 4 and 7, and 27 in their 70s or 80s. Australians are outraged about the news of My Lai. It has only added fuel to the fire of protesters who want Vietnam War to end and to put a stop to conscription. Polls have shown that over half of Australian public wants to bring our Aussie men home. The people of Australia want this war to end, but will it? Here with me now is one of Australia's top lecturing international affairs, Dr. Bartholomew Wright. Good morning.
Thank you, and good morning to you.
What are your views on the My Lai massacre, Doctor?
Well, I think my views are the same as most people in the world. They believe this was a horrible event that never should have been allowed to happen.
Why do you think the United States government wanted to cover it up?
It definitely had to do with all the bad publicity surrounding the Vietnam War. Why would you create more bad publicity for your cause than there already is? It would also be a lot easier to sweep it all under the rug than punish all the people involved.
Speaking of people involved, what, on your expert opinion, do you think was going through these men's minds as they committed these terrible crimes?
I'm not trying to justify what they did, but war is a terrible thing. It can change a man into something they would never want to be. Also, the Charlie Company had suffered many casualties, including 5 dead. They had also been caught in a booby trap a few days before My Lai, which killed a sergeant, blinded a GI and wounded several others. These men were tired and angry and wanted revenge. They were told they would get it in My Lai, where there was supposed to be a Viet Cong hideout. When these men got to My Lai, most of them were intoxicated in some way, and most were following the orders of higher-ups when the massacre took place.
Would you be able to tell us what you think would have happened if Hughes Thompson had not intervened and stopped the massacre?
I think it is fairly easy to guess what would have happened. Those men would have continued to kill until no one was left to kill.
In a bit of a change of subject, what do you think about the way Australia has reacted to the news of My Lai?
I think the way Australia has reacted is not much different to the way America has reacted. They are totally and completely outraged and have definitely upped the ante on protests.
This is my last question for you, Dr. Wright. What, in your view, on the whole Vietnam War?
It is an uphill battle that we are going to lose, and Australia should pull its troops out while we still can.
Thank you for coming and speaking to me today, Dr. Wright. You have definitely helped make some sense out of the terrible My Lai massacre.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
This song that is about to be played is a song that really speaks about the horror of this war, which after the My Lai massacre, no one can argue this is a horrible war. It is The Ballad of My Lai by Matt McKinney.
once was an army lieutenant, handsome, dashing, and gay. Marry the one that he loved, remembered him each time she prayed. Said she was foolish, you see. His words brought tears to her eyes. Said, child, be still, if I've courage and skill. What need for your prayers have I? Mary, you go to your chapel, pray to your God on your knees. Mary, when you light your candle, don't bother to light one for me. One day at the start of a battle near a village in South Vietnam, people were running and hiding to escape the death from the guns. Women and children alike, too old and too young to fight. In a ditch they were found, their blood stained the ground. These words echo again. Mary, you go to your chapel, pray to your God on your knees. Mary, when you light your candle, don't bother to light one for me. Now who will stand in the judgment and say this is duty or sin? We sent him into the battle in a war we never could win. We placed a gun in his hand and sent him to that foreign land with a courage and skill, a license to kill. Now the judgment is in the higher hand. Mary, you go to your chapel, pray to your God again. Mary, when you light your candle, for our sakes, light one for him. For our sakes, light one for him.